Welcome, loyal listeners. This is Sitting on Business, Episode 3. I am one of your co-hosts, Matt Stofsky, and I'm here as always with the other co-host of Sitting on Business, Brandon Newman. Brandon, how's it going?
Hi.
That's how you know we're in for a good episode. The guy's in a good mood. We're feeling good. It's the week of Thanksgiving here. We're recording this.
Yes.
What day is today? Tuesday night, November 26th, year of our Lord 2024. Thanksgiving coming
Amen.
up on Thursday.
Matt, next week is December.
I don't even want to hear that. December, and that means it's going to be 2025 real quick.
Real quick. I saw a tweet that said next year, 2025 is either going to be the worst of the 4 years of the presidency or the best year of the four. So
I guess it depends. Yeah, who tweeted that? Or that's the real question, because best and worst those are slippery concepts these days.
True, and it could be good for one person, bad for the other. Happy Turkey Day to all. Happy Merry Thanksgiving for the woke folks. Happy genocide. We are here with you, ready to.
There's got to be a different type of expression instead of happy genocide, like somber genocide,
right,
to you all,
yes,
or something, or
excuse
like
me,
reflective remembrance of attempted genocide. Not attempted, successful.
No, remember the day after Christmas on the calendar? What does it always say?
Boxing Day?
No.
You got the wrong view. Hanukkah? Night 3 of Hanukkah?
No, it's or any of these holidays on the calendar. It says observe whatever holiday the last day was, right? So for Thanksgiving, we can say genocide observe day. Observation. Pocahontas.
It kind of makes it sound like we're just observing a genocide, like from the sidelines.
Just sitting with our hands, sitting on our hands, doing nothing to help. Why aren't we helping the people?
What have we done? I don't know. Why did we start this way? Now we can't seem to get away from genocide, which is way too hot for 2024. That's too.
Oh, man.
All right. Luckily, we've got other Thanksgiving business to discuss, such as what are your plans? You're gonna do some family stuff, obviously.
Well, let me say, as an obese, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays.
Wait, I'm sorry. As a what?
Obese.
I don't see you like that, first of all. And second of all, is that a term that people are throwing around as like a noun instead of an adjective? Because I like it. I like any time an adjective becomes a noun.
Matt, your English teacher is showing, and my Kentucky is showing. I'm not sure how to go about what you're laying out here, calling different words what they are. I don't know, but I am obese, and that is me, and these are my people. I don't know, like the butter people, the people with high cholesterol, people who look like they're wearing something that doesn't fit well.
Dude,
like I don't know.
I definitely wear a lot of stuff that doesn't fit. You know, they talk about the black girlfriend effect, right, and black wife effect, whatever. Like, remember Andrew Schultz got in all kinds of trouble, and preview for later in the episode, we'll probably be talking to Kendrick a little bit. Kendrick has an Andrew Schultz reference on the album about Andrew Schultz talking about black women. Yes, he's like, don't ever let no white comedian talk about black whatever. And
black women.
The internet told me it was an Andrew Schultz thing. But I, as someone with not a black girlfriend, but a black wife, the effect does not appear to be working because I still look like shit most of the time. But she's embarrassed. She's like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's not your fault so much as mine.
Yeah. You've got a certain drip.
A certain drip is a good name for, like, that could be like our brand of cologne or something.
Oh, certain drip.
Certain drip.
It's like an Axe body spray can. But yeah, I don't know. There is something to what a person of your hue securing what culture would say a Nubian princess. There's something like you must got something to you. You know what I'm saying? And you do got something to you. I think that's fair to say.
But you know what? Well, thank you for saying that. Setty's often said that there's an obvious, and I guess it's kind of related to the black girlfriend effect, but that there's a type of white dude who dates black women, right? And she can like spot him on the subway easily, and it's like
interesting.
He's got
just by how he's looking at her.
He's got the high fade and he's got the Jordans, and it's like
yes,
I just look like I'm from the Pacific Northwest, which I am.
Yeah. But if you go to Seattle, then you get it.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I look like I date a beaver, or like a flannel shirt with like around a mannequin.
Honestly, you look like you low key can hoop. Like that's what the look is. Like the guy who's like, the temp agent who's the office clerk, and then he pulls up to the game and he has his shoes in his hand, not on his feet, and he's like, uh-oh.
It's the Adam Sandler effect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my dream.
I don't know if you pulled that, like that was your inspiration.
I mean,
yeah, what is?
Did I say this on the podcast last week that I still have a pair of basketball shorts from like 2005 that are somehow still too big?
I can believe that.
Yeah,
I can believe that.
I mean, say Team USA Olympic basketball, and they're like they're like capris. They're enormous. I look like
Yeah. That is an effort, definitely an error. Error. ERA.
Era.
So thank you. But speaking of that time period, we were spending $40 on Jordan shorts that were way too big.
Those were the days.
$45, like $50. I didn't have that money. I needed to not have those Jordan shorts to like afford a pair of like basketball shoes.
Those shorts were everything though, and a friend of mine borrowed them once, and he never gave them back. And he tried to give them back to me like literally like a few years ago. I was like, dude, I don't want those anymore. Those are from the mid 2000s. I think we're good.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
It was traumatic. But we got derailed as usual. We're talking about Thanksgiving plans. You're excited because you're going to eat. We're going to watch some football, obviously. Thanksgiving Day games.
I said I was a beast, and
It sent us down a dangerous path.
It's a holiday for really is sitting on business, because you sit to eat. You sit when you're conversing with your family members that you haven't talked to in a while, or whatever the thing is. And you're sitting to watch football. And since the NFL has taken over every holiday on the calendar outside of the summer months,
true.
We used to have 2 Thanksgiving games. Traditionally, always it was either the Cowboys or the Lions traditionally played on Thanksgiving. That's still the case. This week we have 3 games though. Thursday it will be Bears-Lions, little NFC North divisional at 12:30. That game's going to roll right into the Giants-Cowboys game, ass on ass. So maybe that's time to take a nap, or just kind of really focus on family. Maybe pull a video game out, play a little 2K.
Get the prop bets going.
That's at 4:30. Right. Get the which one?
Prop bets. Get the weird stuff going. Like
prop bets. Oh yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
That's a good call.
Yeah. Cooper Rush is in there. He could throw 400 yards.
You never know. I've seen crazier.
So that's at 4:30, and then rolling right into the Thanksgiving night game, Dolphins at Packers.
Kind of
8:20.
That's like a weird matchup for the Thanksgiving night game.
Yeah, but the Dolphins are on a win streak, and Jordan Love is good. It was interesting putting the hot weather team in the cold weather place, even though global warming is making it much hot. We sound like libtard central, but it really is just so hot.
It's still just so subjectively hot. Politics aside. But that's the thing. It's what's annoying, that to say that like the Earth is getting hotter and that vaccines aren't terrible. Those are somehow liberal positions now. It's insane.
I know, we got to change it.
Just make it.
Listen, the making people more educated about the things is not the move anymore. We can't do it anymore.
Yes.
So we gotta down talk the good stuff, and maybe some people will jump onto it.
Well, I remember a few weeks ago.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, just to tell them that they're right, that it's all a hoax, and then all of a sudden they're going to be like, no, global warming, the data backs it up. It is happening. You son of a bitch. You liberal cuck. It's heating up, and it's our fault. We got to do something about it.
When's the last time you got your jacket?
Dude, it's true. I remember a few weeks ago you said you miss the days when politics were boring, and it's like, yeah, like let's just get back to like global warming being just like science that is so boring that nobody wants to. Well, I guess that would prevent anyone from actually doing anything about it either. I don't know. Looks like we're not going to figure it out on this podcast.
Al Gore putting all those eggs in that basket did not work out well for him.
I still respect him for it, though. An inconvenient truth, which I never saw, by the way. I didn't learn what the inconvenient truth was. I think it's that the Earth was heating up.
I saw it, and guess who else saw it? Ted from TED Talks, because he made a whole thing off of that. Now, obviously, TED Talks don't have the theater size PowerPoint behind them, but listen, I listen now. Shouts out to vice presidents. Shout out to all vice presidents.
Yeah, all of them. Even Dan Quayle, or I don't. Was he Bush's vice president? Yeah, but okay, wait.
I didn't see Hamilton.
Wait, is there a real Ted from TED Talks?
No, I was being facetious, but bro, I think
I'll believe anything you say. I was like, who's Ted? Yeah.
Unless Ted is a Ted, it probably is a real Ted, and it's also an acronym for like Talk Education Discoveries. No, I don't know.
That sounded good. That sounds like some corporate nonsense.
Yeah,
3 words that all mean something separately, but together mean nothing.
Wait a minute. Okay, so listen to this. To get back on the Thanksgiving. What are you doing? But also, does SETI know or think about this particular holiday?
That's a great question. We're just going up to my parents' place up in the suburbs outside of New York, and some random people are going to be there. Like my uncle is bringing his ex-wife.
Gang.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do they have children together?
They sure do. And I think
okay, well then that's the homie.
It makes a little more sense with that context. And yeah, Sandy's like, wow, this holiday doesn't mean anything to her. All it means is like she has to go sit and, make small talk with like somebody's cousin who she doesn't know. But she's pretty good at it. So it shouldn't be an issue.
That is a key word of the day. Small talk.
Small talk.
Small talk.
I've just been struggling.
Brought to you by Boost Mobile.
Chirp, tweet. What was it? Chirp.
But this segment is small talk brought to you by Boost Mobile.
I've been struggling so hard. Like I went to a couple of weddings over the summer. It's just like, I don't know if it was COVID or I'm just getting older or it's like married brain. I just don't have anything to say to anyone anymore. And I don't think anyone has anything to say to me. People talk about the most boring shit. And I'm like, we need to either talk about like how big a shit you took this morning or like politics or something spicy. Cause I just cannot, like, I don't want to hear what you do for work. None of that.
Yeah.
I'm over. No, I mean, sick of it.
You're talking to a guy who has children in it's not just like daycare. They're like in schools. So there's like school functions that are some reason during the day.
That's
like
weird.
All of our school functions growing up were at night.
Yeah.
When parents could go to them. They're trying to cut the parents out. Or I don't know what's going on. But so I'm constantly talking to people that I imagine I'm the last person that they want to talk to, but I don't judge. I'm like, whatever, like, let's hang out. But also, I definitely get to the shits. I say the weird thing.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's going to, like, try to advance conversation and, like, find interest. But if I've already talked to you before and you're a father of a child and you're at the thing again, and we've established that there's nothing for us to really go in on, I will stand next to you in silence, looking out at the same place for 5 minutes at a time.
That is so
So
that is so enviable. I wish I get uncomfortable with silences and I just fill them. But yeah, you're right. The solution to no boring small talk is just no talk. We don't have to talk at all.
I was trying to prove a point by not talking,
I
but
kind of sensed it. But I kind of stole this concept from Larry David because he's got a whole Curb episode about how he wants to elevate small talk to medium talk. And whenever I saw that like 10 years ago, it really stuck with me. I'm like, yes, Larry David, I too would like to elevate small talk to at least medium talk. I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore.
But I do find it useful if you have something to talk about, right? Like I guess I lean on stand up a lot.
Yeah.
Like talking to people if they have a favorite stand up or a favorite bit, like, just throw them at me. I want to hear them.
But that's because you're a good conversation partner. You know what I mean? Like you show an interest in people. You try to find some common ground. Most people don't do that. They just like talk about themselves. Have you noticed nobody asks? Maybe it's different when you're with families like of kids, but in my world, nobody asks a question anymore. They just say the thing that they were going to say. No one asks questions. People are such bad conversationalists. It's wild.
That's a good point.
Or they ask like 50 questions in a row, and you're like, this isn't a conversation either way.
No, it is difficult to not speak, but it's also difficult to do the word vomit thing when you're like trying to land a plane. You're like, none of the last 30 words I just said made any sense. Maybe the next 15 will help.
And especially if you're like kind of stoned, I just get so paranoid, which is so cliche, but I really do. I'm just like, wow, I'm not even forming sentences. I'm just like dripping. It's like drool is coming out.
No, that's a good point because there's a reality to this whole thing that comes with like big picture anxiety, stepping out and looking at it, where like everyone's thinking about themselves so much that no one is thinking about you. Maybe me because I'm a minority and everyone likes to make sure they know where one is in a room. But
yeah, they're thinking about you.
That, yeah. Once they see me with my hands in my literal pockets of my vest, as I have like look like a plus size Carlton in the corner, like I think people stop checking on me. So,
that's so funny. So the vest is kind of like you're like, I'm safe to talk to.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I haven't said the joke yet, but it's my Blue Lives Matter pen. Like, it's like, oh, he comes in peace.
But wait a sec, I do have an important question. What type of vest are we talking about? Like a puffer vest, or like a sweater vest?
No,
like
any. I'll rock one eventually on this podcast. But like, there's one I got from Ross. Shout out Ross Dress for Less.
D4L,
that's kind of like
Taffy. Bro, that's a crazy connection that you were not expecting me to make, is it?
At all. Why did you make it?
Dress for less, D4L.
Oh shit! I thought maybe in the song they snuck a Ross Dress for Less.
They should
like reference, and I missed it.
Now I can't remember the names of those artists, but they're like, whoop, there it is, guys. You know how they were like in that commercial not long ago, at like 20 years after they were relevant. Yes.
Is that the actual name though? I don't know. I feel like they say
that sounds right. I would have said yes to anything you said though. I don't know.
That's fair.
But I'm pitching now that we have this platform with all of our listeners and the movements behind us. Somebody needs to get in touch with Atlanta rap crew D4L if they're still around and let them know that Ross Dress for Less is ready to do business with them and we're the middlemen.
Bro, that we could help them design some Laffy Taffy polos that would be fire.
Bro, and everyone loves Y2K fashion. Bring back the candy polos. Bring back like the 05 Kanye pink polo, backpack rap shit. Bring it back. Laffy Taffy.
You know what? And now we're talking about bringing stuff back. What about the NASCAR jackets? Like the Laffy Taffy, like, the Eminem, the old school Eminem NASCAR jackets, like that with the Laffy Taffies on them.
Oh
the
yeah.
colorfulness.
I saw someone wearing one of those out in Brooklyn the other day though, and I was like, no, dude, you are not pulling it off. Because it was just like someone who
Yeah,
looked just like
Just-
me. I don't know. Something about it was just off.
Mike Tyson had one that looked kind of like it at that Jake Paul fight with a bunch of like, you know, Mike Tyson is things on him. Okay, speaking of Mike Tyson,
Iron
Iron
Mike.
Mike.
Look at us. Yeah, that's true. We were talking a little bit earlier about before we pressed record about all-time great sports nicknames. Iron Mike, I didn't even think of, but that, yeah, I mean that's good. And there's no real like double meaning in Iron Mike, is there? It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean he's hard
He's hard
and unbreakable.
and unbreakable, but
And
yeah.
what I feel like he's got to have another nickname as
But
well,
then
right?
there's the Wu-Tang shit, like Duel of the Iron Mikes. So
Oh,
I
that's
don't
a good point too.
know what the connection might be there or what that actually means. Yeah, does he have another nickname?
So wait a minute, but I I was going to look it up, but I realized why I couldn't. One of my favorite things as somebody who like just looks up random sports stuff on the internet is on Pro Football Reference and
Uh,
Pro Basketball Reference.com. Have you ever been to these websites?
I haven't, but I've seen them referred to on many a sports center.
Yeah, so it's just like I mean, like it's just people's stats to the T, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah, yeah.
they won anything that's up there, their jersey numbers for the different teams they play with, how many games played, started, averages, all those things, right?
Uh-huh.
And on this site, they have players' nicknames listed. And it's one of those things where like even ones that you probably haven't even heard of, and they're there and you're like, it's debatable. It's like, okay, that's not mainstream. Like, for example, shouts out to Baltimore Ravens. We signed King Henry last year from the Tennessee Titans, aka Derrick Henry, who has the nickname King Henry, which everyone kind of understands and knows. But the other amazing running back in the NFL right now is Saquon Barkley with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was wondering if he had a nickname because his name is so unique by itself. But his nickname is Sequads.
I mean, is it though?
Thank you.
That's what I'm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad I said yes, it's debatable because I've never heard him say like maybe when he's at Penn State, like squatting and like
Right.
going viral, like doing 600-pound squats and stuff. But no one calls him Saquads.
Yeah, that must have been something that like you know how sometimes the commentators like to get a little punny. Like I feel like
Yes,
Mark Jones does it all the time. Dudes like that. That I could see some of them being like, tonight
Gus
he's
Johnson.
say quads tonight. But that is
I mean,
ludicrous.
he did do a backwards leap over someone.
But to your point, if you have a unique name, that kind of becomes your nickname. Like no one really needed to call Shaquille O'Neal Diesel or Shaq Diesel, although they would once in a while when Shaq is the most unbelievable nickname anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's the king of nicknames.
But I just like
Like,
the ones that have a double meaning, like or one that requires like a little explanation. So I think I'm gonna just lay out my all-time favorite sports nickname, and then I hope you can give me yours. But my all-time favorite sports nickname is, drum roll please, none other than the mailman Karl Malone.
ooh,
And it's like
yeah,
if you just heard someone whose name was
that's
the
a good one.
mailman, you might be like, what? And then as soon as
That's a
someone's
good
like,
one.
it's because he always delivers, then you're like, fuck yeah. That's money. That's in some A to Z type shit. A to C. A to Z, A to C. You got to like,
No, that is a good one.
that's the
He is a
all-timer.
terrible person,
Yeah,
but
what's his
that is
deal?
a great one.
I don't really know about that. Why is he like? Does he have like domestic
He
violence issues or something? I vaguely is that or did I just slander a good
no,
man?
he allegedly kind of proven, so not alleged, um had intercourse with a 14-year-old, I believe, while he was in the NBA, and
Yeah.
like did not help her out at all. And I think the
What do you mean he didn't help her out
product,
at all?
like, look, my the kid, send money.
Oh,
Like
oh,
she like it was a
she had
statute. It
a
was like a
kid?
case.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
and I think that kid's in the NFL and became an NFL player,
Right
maybe
on.
even currently. But yeah, he's just been kind of like a shitbag like that.
Well, I'm kind of regretting
But
putting him at the top of my list.
oh no, I mean that doesn't change the fact that his great nickname.
And a great low post scorer. I mean, it's a classic question of can you separate the art from the artist? I don't know.
I mean, he was the scorer. Like I think the fact that like LeBron, when he like the fact that he had to cross Carmelo to get to number 2 in the all time, or to get to number 1, or what, I don't know. Carmelo
No,
scored a
but
lot of points.
that says something.
I would say let me just run through Shaq's real quick.
Okay.
Shaq Diesel, the Big Aristotle, Superman's Shaq Fu, Shaq Daddy, Warrior. Okay.
I
Now
forgot
that's out
about
of the
the
way.
Big Aristotle, which is a truly incredible nickname. I wonder what the origin of that is.
It was probably him. So
Yeah,
okay, so
that's right.
here, because like let's not forget he's a rapper. So like if you just add nicknames to you as you rap, like you have a bunch of nicknames.
No doubt.
Obi Trice's real name, no gimmicks. Okay.
Bro, it's a Midwest thing. Come
Okay.
on.
Wait a minute.
Whatever happened to
Oh,
Obi
but I was gonna
Trice?
say I can't. We can't.
We can't. But maybe another
I
time.
can't. No. Yeah.
And this isn't the
okay.
first time I've asked somebody that question. I'd like to know. I haven't done any work to find out, but I would like to know. I'd like someone to tell me.
It was. I know, but like I feel like I've asked that question myself, like in 2-year intervals for my entire life. So like I have an answer, but I just can't.
Last I heard, a couple of trailer park girls were going round the outside, and then we've kind of lost touch with them.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I was gonna say, but my favorite nickname,
yes,
in sports, is kind of boring, but just because you said it in basketball and made me think of it, but Dr. J, like that's his name.
It's his name.
Julius Erving. He did some things that were just insane at the time. But like there's a bunch of the good ones that are old.
But
like
wait,
all the
Dr.
old
J
people had
though.
really good ones.
Now you got me thinking about Dr. J. It's like, I wonder where it came. Obviously, the J is for Julius, but like doctor. Like, I wonder how did that happen? Is it just because he's just so like he's so skillful that he's almost at the level of a doctor?
Okay, let's go to Kobe. Let's talk about Kobe because he gave himself this nickname Black Mamba, which was very, very controversial at the time.
Yeah, and speaking of controversial, Black Mamba, I just read a take the other day, and it's not a new take necessarily, but it's one I hadn't really thought about for a while. The classic Kobe overrated discussion. And this dude was coming for him. Granted, this is just on a Reddit thread, but this dude was absolutely coming for Kobe, saying that he was selfish, not really a leader, didn't elevate his teammates, not a passer. He's just a pure scorer. And upon reading that, I'm like, yeah. I mean, what is greatness in the league? Like, I don't know. Isn't it kind of scoring points?
Okay, was that all of the points that this person brought up?
Yeah, it was mostly that he didn't elevate the team, that Shaq ended up carrying them, that he just, basically it all came down to that he wasn't really a team guy, and the rest of his game wasn't super developed.
So here's the stuff that I would say pushes against that. He got drafted when he was 18 into this league that was like full of grown men. And he had this like toughness and this tenacity that I feel like that level of sacrifice has to be for something bigger than yourself a little bit. So like the whole team aspect, like when he took those free throws with his torn Achilles, like that was some of the craziest shit that we have seen. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's the case, but I do think that he was mad selfish. Like he was constantly holding the team ransom of like being requesting a trade if they didn't do X, Y, and Z. He did need Shaq to get over the hump for those wins, and then when it went south, a real team like the Detroit Pistons was the team that knocked them out, and I think it was the gentleman's sweep and that was the end of the Kobe Shaq era in LA. But then you got Paul Gasol and Meta World Peace and all these different pieces and won another one. So, respect there. But here's my take on why Kobe can be seen as overrated. When your biggest attribute is that you successfully mimicked the offensive part of the game of Michael Jordan, the person that you idolized, your ceiling's only going to be so high. Right, because you're going to just kind of have your head backed up into the Michael Jordan debate, and you were not better than Michael Jordan, but you were such a skilled scorer and wanted to be so much like Michael Jordan that you became this like odd hybrid new thing. It's almost like comparing Sonic and Knuckles or something like that. Like he became like this other thing with these other skill set, but like you could tell where the inspiration comes from.
For sure. And yeah, I think to the argument that he is not that he's perfectly rated, is that, yeah, like he was the heir to the Michael Jordan archetype. And it's like, if you're going to be the next Michael Jordan, you're probably going to be pretty fucking good at basketball. You know what I mean? It's like, you're right. He may have just been a scorer. He may not have had Jordan's tenacity on defense or whatever you want to say, but he was the first guy that was really compared to Michael, right? There was a gap, after MJ, late 90s, like there was nobody up next. There was no heir apparent. And of course he's an all-timer. He changed the face of the game. And it's kind of like,
there's a reality too that like we always talk about the leagues, the faces of the league. But in that era of basketball, those were all villains. Like it was like the killers that were the face of the league, and Kobe represented this thing to be feared going in. Like even on this Kendrick Lamar album that we could talk about right now or right next or after this, he makes a reference to Kobe scoring 80 points against the Toronto Raptors. 15 years afterwards.
Yeah, and that
like
wasn't
that was a moment. Like that was a moment. Like people, we saw that, we heard about that as much as like the Malice in the Palace. Like it was a part of the thing. And like Kobe has his moments. Hell, his last game, Matt. When I was living in LA, and it was the last game, and the same day the Warriors were going for the record of 73 wins season or 72 win season. Same day. When Kobe dropped 60, it was insane. It was like electric. It was magical. Like it was obviously against the Utah Jazz and mainly a hobbled, what is his name? Gordon Hayward. Like he was just giving him buckets all game long. But didn't stand a chance. Now on Kobe's last game. Now with the body armor plug that he was about to do. But like Kobe has these moments where like you got to put him up somewhere, but when it comes to like the whole, like he's not, I'll say it like this. We're in an era now with players that could make us put Kobe even lower on the list. With like Wemby. And
yeah. I mean, shit, Devin Booker's going for 70, like.
Well, not even like a points thing. It's like a longevity and success thing. Like I think there's a reality that some of these guys. I mean, Cooper Flagg isn't in the NBA yet, and this guy's a dog.
Oh
this is the guy from Maine and Duke. So like, yeah, we're in a position now where we're gonna start looking at Kobe like Elgin Baylor, and it's like, well, I never saw the footage.
That's such a wild comparison and so true. It's like, yeah, it's gonna feel like, yeah, we can't really talk about like tiny Archibald in this conversation because the league was different. It was the 50s, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that's so true. But you know what? With Kobe, the critique that he was selfish or it wasn't team first or whatever. It's like, no, we don't know that. And I think you said this a few weeks ago. People love to talk shit, but it's like if you're not on the team, and this happens with Kevin Durant all the time, like Stephen A. Smith coming for him about his leadership. And then dudes on the team are like, bro, you don't know. Like, he might not be super vocal because that's his personality type, but he sets the tone. He comes in and he's an all-time great and he busts his ass every day. And that is leadership. And it's like, okay, so we don't know really what Kobe was up to.
But there is a specific style of leadership that can be toxic to a team, i.e. Draymond Green or yeah, I mean, I think people talk. I mean, I hear Jeremy Lin talk about his years with Kobe, and it's like he's like has nightmares about the experience. Like he was so hard on him and hated him so much, and was like, "You shouldn't be here," type of thing. And that's the different level of. I mean, one of my favorite football players of all time is Ray Lewis, and he may have killed someone, and I still just one of my favorites.
Talk about separating the art from the artist. I mean, I'd honestly, killing someone, I'm ranking as more acceptable than Karl Malone's behavior.
Yes, a little girl.
That ain't right.
Kidding me?
And Ray Lewis, and like, you know, he was a linebacker. Like, he might have killed someone.
That was the job. That was the job to like try to end people's careers.
And honestly, I feel like in today's like mental health climate, I feel like Ray Lewis would have gotten a lot more compassion and sympathy from people.
I mean, thank God he's still with us. I mean, that's a praying man. That's a praying man. But okay, this actually might be a decent segue since we're talking about Karl Malone and his predatory ways. Kendrick's still coming at Drake.
It all connects. I mean, we're talking about debates about who might be the greatest. I think, and I'm not, and you might know this, I'm not even Kendrick's biggest fan. And not because he's not talented, he obviously is. But my thing with him is that it's always just been like almost too easy. It's like, do you remember, have you seen The Matrix?
Yes, of course.
You know, there's that scene in The Matrix when
came out on Christmas Day.
Really? So, we can add that to our holiday movie discussion.
Yeah.
I remember the scene when Neo first realizes that he's the one, and they're like unloading clips at him, and he's just standing there kind of like in slow motion, just like knocking the bullets down, like he's kind of like doing Tai Chi and he doesn't even really know what's going on. He's just like flowing. That's what I feel is going on with Kendrick. Like, this dude is just like reading the code of the Matrix. It's too easy for him. He's fully jacked in. He is the one and the agents all wrapped up into one. And it's like, I'd almost rather listen to Schoolboy Q as far as sort of the black hippie family goes. Because like, I could see the sweat coming off Schoolboy Q. I can see the effort. you know what I mean? Kendrick is just like, I don't know.
That's a good point. But I hear you. I do think that there is, yes, I think Kendrick is the chosen one in a way that Tupac was in a weird way, like in a very like this person was bred for this, almost like Bane or something. But enough references. But I think he tries enough stuff to make it interesting, but doesn't always make it re-listenable. I think Mr. Morale was, I think it kind of hit too close for home for me as somebody who hasn't gotten therapy yet personally. It was the result of like a healed man and like going through his transgressions and things like that, which was like all cool and great to hear that he was transparent with his audience after, you know, not really touching on these subjects before. But it wasn't necessarily for me like that. Damn was like this mixtape album that had these like banging radio cuts on it. And that actually was, especially living in LA at the time, was a re-listenable album.
Totally.
It was just very deep, but also very commercial. Like, it's something that, like a fine line that only really Kendrick can walk. And that's why you kind of see him being this Matrix character. 'Cause, oh, you can do this. But this album, GNX, a surprise album from Kendrick Lamar that dropped Friday during the day, like at 8 a.m. There's a lot of Spanish Latin influence through it, but also the cheat code that I think hip hop tapped into, where there literally are 4 to 5 different songs on one song, or like 4 to 5 different productions. But something I heard other people talking about on the Joe Budden podcast is, he says like those people are like engineers and professionals or whatever. They say you can hear how much money he made off of the Drake beef, and he poured it into this album because his production hasn't sounded this crisp and clean, and so many different big influences versus just always leaning on the TDE camp for beats.
So much to unpack, dude. I don't even know where to start, but I think the observation that rap now is like 5 songs in one, I never really thought about that, but it's so true. And I feel like I first became aware of it possibly on like maybe Travis Scott. I'll be like,
Travis Scott does it a lot, but Sicko Mode was like a huge one for that. But
for
like,
sure.
yeah, Travis Scott does it a lot.
But yeah, 5 songs in one. I can't help but, because Kendrick is he's so diabolical with his beef. Like, he is like, you do not want to come up against him. And I don't know what Drake was thinking.
But we found out.
We found out.
Actually, so I pulled a clip. This is another podcast. I don't know who they are, but apparently they're smart. This is a guy explaining why Kendrick used the GNX, and there's some heavy like other movie references, media. So just follow along with us. But I think this is definitely worth listening to.
Let's do it. And don't let me forget, I got a hot take about all the Spanish music.
Let's start with the album cover, bro. It's him leaning against is a car called a GNX?
It's a GNX. It's a black Buick from the 80s.
What's the significance, you think?
So when I seen the car, I grew up on a lot of 90s movies and stuff like that. So automatically I thought about Menace to Society.
Okay.
When you look at the movie, there's only once where they have the black Buick, and it's when Kane, Old Dog, and MCA are going for a drive-by.
Oh,
they went for a drive-by.
I want to know if you ready to do this.
And at the end, Kane is laying on his bed. He's like, man, I didn't want to kill them, but I just wanted to know that I can kill them.
I thought killing those fools would make me feel good, but it really didn't make me feel anything. I just knew that I could kill somebody, and if I had to, I could do it again.
So I feel like that was a shot at, you know what I mean?
100%. That's a great take.
And it went through a lot of people's heads. Like, people didn't see it, but I seen all of like right away.
That's what we got lining on set. I like that. That's crazy, dog.
I mean, I dig it, but I heard Kendrick, or not heard, I read about him talking about the car, and he said it was because his dad drove him home from the hospital in some old black Buick from the 80s or whatever. And so the GNX was just kind of like a nod to his father. So,
oh, damn.
But I like the deep read that those dudes are putting out there, that it's like the GNX represents like Kendrick knowing that he could kill anybody.
But that's the thing about Kendrick Lamar. It's like he's this Messiah-like character. Have you seen Dune?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk Dune later, eventually in a different episode.
Next week. Like tune in, people.
Like he's what's one of his names?
Oh yeah,
nicknames.
Yeah, L could be. I don't know.
Yeah,
but anyway, what is it? How come we don't know? We're both like, we love Dune, and then we just don't know.
Nope, not well enough. Don't love it well enough.
Muada Dean or something.
He is this character. He is the desert rat. So he is connected to all the things. Like there's no coincidences with Kendrick Lamar.
That's it.
Right? Like it's always connected. It's always on purpose. It's always serendipitous. It's always like, it seems natural for a weird reason, but that's why you're talking about. Like, to go back to Kobe said it to Sabrina Ionescu. I always say her name incorrectly.
Sounds right.
Is that okay?
Shout out New York Liberty. Shout out New York Liberty. WNBA champs, reigning champs. They brought women's basketball back to the limelight, along with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Let's go Libs.
Amen. Shout out. They won the first Caitlin Clark season. Like, I think that's, unfortunately, that's what it's going to be in the record books, is that as well. And shout out to Ellie, the best mascot in the game.
For real.
But I think she was on the All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Stack 5, and they asked her what's the best advice Kobe gave her. And she said, Kobe said, sharpness comes effortlessly, right? So, like, if you're going to be doing something and it looks good, it looks crisp, it looks clean, it's because you've worked on it so much that it is easy for you, right? So, like, so I think about it all the time when it comes to just like working out and training and things like that, and especially when it comes to Kendrick. He has trained so much and been in the lab so much. Like, here's a perfect example. When that beef was going on, he made like 9 diss tracks all about Drake, and the ones that came to light were the best ones. He was so diligent at doing the thing and had so many options that he was able to not just go with whatever came to his head, like clearly what Drake did in Family Matters and all the different things that he put out, like the Heart 6 or whatever, like all the different things he did. It was all very like somebody should have gone through the rough draft, respectfully, where Kendrick is putting out a master class when it comes to these things.
And speaking of the Heart Part 6, that song was crazy from the album, and it was basically Kendrick doing Drake better than Drake could do Drake, like doing the like self-mythologizing, like started from the bottom kind of narrative description of his career. It was honestly fascinating. It was fascinating to get a look behind the black hippie curtain like that. It was amazing. I love that song.
That little tidbit about Schoolboy Q just like learning how to rap.
Wild.
And also just giving respect to Absol like that. And also talking about Dave, his friend, who, if you weren't in the know, or with Kendrick Lamar or whatever his other thing is, if you weren't in the know, Drake brought this person up to you for the first time, and you're thinking, oh, one of Kendrick Lamar's best friends could be the father of his child. That's what we're finding. And then Kendrick owns the narrative and talks about his friendship with his boy.
It honestly reminded me, the Drake line when he's like, I think it's on, if you're reading this, he's like, Ethan was pushing the Subaru hatchback. We're talking way before snapbacks. I'm like, okay, so Kendrick is just doing Drake. He's doing Drake better than Drake. Yeah. He's talking about his Ethan is Dave. I couldn't believe it. Oh wait, the Spanish music. Okay. Like you said, yes. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is unintentional. And you know how Drake is always accused of and guilty of biting different international styles. Like he'll bring in like a little Caribbean flavor, and he'll like rap like he's British and whatever. And I feel like that was Kendrick being like, yo, you're a culture vulture. I'm going to put some like LA Spanish music on because I'm like actually from this community, and like I know, you know what I mean? I feel like that was all a subliminal.
Yeah, so like you're like saying that he's basically made a Drake album better than Drake could.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Which is interesting. But here's the Spanish thing has a really cool tie to it. So basically this woman, Kendrick Lamar came in contact or found out about this woman because he went to the very first World Series game at the Dodgers. And a Dodgers famous baseball player had passed, and this woman was friends with him, and she sang the memorial at the game 1 of the World Series. It was game 1 in Dodger in LA.
I think
probably
so.
Was. But anyway, so he got in contact with her, and like she said he was so nice, and she sang a bunch of songs, and he gave her some like inspirational like things like this what she wanted to pull from. And then he basically said like, this is an LA album. The Spanish community is a part of LA. That's why it had to sound like this, but it was definitely gave this like big cathedral, like back when Kanye was the first person to like put like a chorus or like a church choir on the track. Like it felt like regal.
Yes, absolutely. I like the idea that it's an LA album. Yeah, I think I read him saying something like that. And yeah, he's just ruthless. He's just absolutely ruthless. It almost reminds me, you know how with Back to Back, how Drake put the Phillies photo on the cover. Somehow it just feels like Kendrick is somehow needling him. My theory would make sense if Kendrick had used like a singer that Drake knows on his own album or something. So I guess my theory kind of fell apart. But he's merciless.
His SZA is on 2 of these tracks.
Great point.
And there's rumor that SZA and Drake are connected deeper than obviously they used to date in 2008, thanks to the song that we heard Drake put that out there. But she's confirmed that and not hidden from that. But there's rumor that they have like been making songs about each other and like make the titles kind of back and forth. Like he put out Seek and Destroy after she put out Search and Rescue. And Slime With You or Slime Me Out is rumored to be like just like them talking about their individual relationships with each other, and it being very toxic. So if they're connected like that, and Kendrick was able to get basically Drake's girl, like Drake's Whitney, like if he had one. And it also just like called out the fact that it's better to have one woman in these days, like, which is a great monogamous line for Drake, who is polyamorous.
Drake is super poly, and Drake is so soft for suing UMG. Did you see that his people are suing UMG now because like the payola scam with Not Like Us? It's like Not Like Us is the song of the decade, and you're trying to like shave a few dollars off the label. Like it's insane. What is he thinking? He's gonna it's crazy.
It's a dangerous game he's playing because basically he's trying to prove, like obviously they've been talked about and proven. Kendrick hasn't shied away that he used bots to kind of get Not Like Us more streams when it was time to embarrass Drake at that moment, right?
Yeah,
making it the #1 song. But we know that Drake does a version of this as well. So I do think that this is going to be something that is going to impact the music industry as a whole a lot more than I think Drake's realizing. Or maybe he does. And he's just, I live in Canada. I'm on my way out for making music. Y'all deal with this, like this carnage and wreckage. But
yeah,
here's my question, and then we can move on. Are any of these songs played at the Super Bowl? Because I would think not. Like, because as I was listening to the album, that's where my mind was. Like, okay, which one of these? And I think because there's so many different styles and productions there, that the infamous from Turn the TV Off, that's probably a great segue at some point in time during the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if the song's going to get played like that afterwards. Like I'm not sure if there's any real like big song staying power here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the radio can push anything they want on it, but like nothing grabbed me like that upon first listen and second listen.
Same here, except Odyssey maybe Whacked Out Murals, track #1. I replayed it several times before I even continue the rest of the album, so I don't know. But I think you might be right.
It is.
And you heard it here first, people. Episode 3 of Sitting on Business. None of the songs from GNX are getting any airtime at the Super Bowl. You heard it here first, if you heard it anywhere.
Outside of the mustard ad-lib.
Outside of the mustard ad-lib, which is that's an asterisk. That look out for the ad-lib.
He may start it with that.
Bro, when he does,
can you imagine?
When he does Not Like Us, I just wonder what like duck face selfie Drake is going to post in response.
Also, before we move off the album completely, what did we talk about? This Lil Wayne beef last episode, and he puts in this. Was it the second track of the song or second track of the album? He mentioned it's like my success made Lil Wayne unhappy.
I love that Lil Wayne seems to have not really like read the lyrics. He just tweeted something like, "What I do." That's why you gotta love Wayne. He's all of us.
Yeah, he's just so like, why you say fuck me for? The 50 Cent, the 50 Cent meme.
Oh
Why
my
you say
God.
fuck me for?
Dude,
But anyways, yeah, I do think it's funny that Lil Wayne, that Kendrick had to announce, like, even I got a Super Bowl, which is great. Talking about digging Drake, because the first person shooter and big as a Super Bowl. He's like, I've got a Super Bowl, and the only person that congratulated me was Nas, and that tracks so much because Nas is still putting out great music. Has won Album of the Year recently, within the last 5 years, and with King's Disease discography. And Nas would be the one to reach out to Kendrick and tell him congratulations. It's a shame that no one else did, but it would be Nas.
He's like an elder statesman now. He's like the Bill Clinton of the rap game. Is Nas top 5 all time? That's all I want to know from you.
For me, no. But it's because I don't have a lot of New York rappers up there.
I heard a Biggie track on the radio the other day, and weirdly enough, I'm not the biggest Biggie fan, even though I live in his old neighborhood of Clinton Hill. There was some Biggie bar that just blew my mind. But I probably should have known it because it's probably a famous line. But he was like, shoot out for 20 minutes until we're finished. And I was like, that is just an incredible bar. Just rhyming minutes and finished, incredible. Just
Biggie's one of my favorites because he has like a jazz influence. You can tell he treats like the bars a little inch and flow, and there's like he says the craziest stuff, but he's flowing so naturally. Okay, we're going 57 minutes on the beat. That means we're going to end this at an hour. But
yes, we are.
I want to know, as a Thanksgiving staple, did you ever experience the infamous cousin walk?
See, unfortunately not, because I grew up with no cousins my age. Out in Seattle, it was just my parents, me, and my mom had a couple of older cousins who we used to go over to Thanksgiving with, but they didn't have kids who lived in the States. So it was just like, it was basically 4 boomers and me every year for my whole childhood. So tell me about the cousin walk, and then we'll log off, because I need to live vicariously through you. What was it like? Sounds fun.
I didn't know anything about it. Nothing. My cousins wanted to beat me up. I was the little one that seemed to be afraid of the hood shit. I was just like, if there was a cousin walk, I was not invited.
It sounds like there must have been.
No, I mean, now it seems like there's a family, like siblings, hotboxing and the, irresponsible, whatever it is. But like, there's been versions of the thing now, but like, I do envy the people that just seem like it was just like a thing, imagine like, going and asking your people you see twice a year, maybe once a year, and smoking random drugs that they brought, and then going back and eating and just blindly looking at somebody asking you a question.
I could definitely confirm that experience, but not anything that led up to it. It sounds like we both missed out on some real, like, formative teenage experiences that might have shaped our lives in entirely different ways, and we'll just never know who we could have been.
Yeah. I know, like, if things would have went another way, maybe we'd be standing on business.
But thankfully, we ain't, and we're going to continue sitting on business every Monday or whatever day we decide to record. I just revealed all of the inside information. Like, that was a real Drake.
Just close us out, man. Just close us out. Fucking tell me what the sausage is made.
Yo, it's not even Monday, but just look for the episode whenever it shows up in your feed and listen to it. Like and subscribe. Check us out. Sitting on Business. We're here. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. If you have any topics you want to hear discussed, we value audience feedback. And we value having an audience, so tell your friends.
Please.
We need this. Happy Thanksgiving.